Okay, just want to say welcome to Together We Rise, Building Our Nation. It's a community, it's a platform where we able to help each other. We share each other's story and we help to grow each other. And this afternoon we are here, and we are here for one reason really, is to talk about cricket and West Indies cricket to be specific. This afternoon, on the platform we have Carlton Brown, the host of the Cricket Forum, and he'll tell you more about that. Also, to join us later on, we'll have Darren Powell coming in. We also gonna have Junior Calden, also another sports personnel who is basically working across Jamaica with the development of the West Indies youths, and we just want to just say welcome, enjoy, and just so you know, if you go to the YouTube channel Together We Rise Building Our Nation, there's a link, and you can also look at my Facebook page, Ian Thomas, and you could also join and comment as we go through. So Carlton, we just want to say welcome to Together We Rise Building Our Nation, and if you don't mind, in a quick second, just do a quick introduction, let the people know who you are and what you do. All right.
Thank you very much, Ian. It's my pleasure to be here, and I looking forward to this show. Where, as you said, I'm Carlton Brown. I'm host of the Cricket Forum. The Cricket Forum currently, and hopefully it will remain so, the number one YouTube cricket channel in the Caribbean, and I am the host of that show. We cover West Indies cricket inside out, and we do what you call watch-alongs when games are playing. We also do the watch-along. So thank you for having me, Ian. It's a pleasure, and I look forward to the show.
All right, Carlton, we know you're in a nice warm seat tonight, and I know with what you do, you would have seen a lot that is happening, in terms of global sports, but cricket in specific. As you said, your reach goes far and wide. And with that said, we have seen what is happening in the West Indies. It's no hidden secret that we're obviously not doing well as a group, as a whole. Yes, we have areas we're doing well. We could say our bowling look pretty superb this season. But when we look at our batting, we keep failing. You know, and with that said, Carlton, what I would like for you to do, with your knowledge, your experience, and everything, could you just spread some light on what you see happening in the West Indies, what you think needs to be done? And I know a lot of people are calling also for the captain, Sammy. Is this the right move to make? Tell us, your insight, your views.
Let me start with Sammy. I am Sammy in, and maybe 2 weeks ago or so, I was Sammy in 80%. Today, I'm Sammy in around 60%. So I'm still Sammy in. I, I was not in agreement with the appointment of Sammy as coach of the West Indies team, even when he was appointed coach for the white ball team. However, my position then was that the president of Cricket West Indies is actually the person who handpicked Sammy for the job. And if I'm leading an organization, I want the person who I trust. I want the person who I believe in. So although I would not have selected Sammy as the head coach, I look at it and say that the president must get the person that he wants. So from that point, I don't have an issue with Sammy being the head coach. The flip side of that, though, is that should Sammy fail, it means also that the president would have made a decision against the objective analytic interview of the person, and he should go also. So that is my position on the coach. Now, when it comes to the West Indies batting, in my opinion, in one way, it's a simple thing, although it is probably the most difficult thing. West Indies batsmen just simple are not doing the basic things well. In any international sport, the great players, they will tell you time and time again, they try to do the basics well. And for the West Indies team to succeed, the batsmen have to achieve near mastery in the basic. It simply means that they need to practice for hours and hours and hours doing the basic thing. Everything comes from there, from the basic. Let me say this. If a child cannot read, it doesn't matter how many books you put in front of that child. The child just cannot read. However, if the child can read good, you can put 2 books in front of the child and the child get a lot of information. It's the same thing with the West Indies batting. No matter what you do, no matter what they do, no matter what the granular idea, even if they play 365 matches a year, if they are not doing the basic well, they will not succeed. And the numbers bear that out. Balls that pitch between middle stump and fifth stump in the area between 5 and 7 meters from the stump, West Indies batsmen over the last 2 years are averaging 10 runs to those deliveries. And my grandfather told me from a little boy that every good batsman can bat good deliveries. So these West Indies batsmen clearly cannot bat good deliveries. And that's why they're averaging 10. So that's it for me for now.
All right. With that said, I'm gonna let that sink in, but there's a lot of meat in what you have just said. Yeah. But what we realize, on screen we have Junior Codlin, who is the president and founder of West Indies Cricket Development Academy, WICDA, and he's out there helping the youths of Jamaica. And we just want to say, welcome, Junior, welcome to the platform. And I know you'd have heard what Carlton said a while ago. So I just want you to quickly introduce yourself and also give your views.
Yeah, good day to you, Mr. Ethan Thomas, and to my good friend, Mr. Carlton Brown, founder of the wonderful platform Cricket Forum. And good night to all your viewers in the US, in Jamaica, and all over the world. I am Junior Codlin, founder and president of the West Indies Cricket Development Academy. We exist for less fortunate cricketers here in Jamaica and in the rest of the Caribbean. From the last years now, and we're proud of that, and we continue to do what we do for the advancement of youth cricket here in Jamaica. We also is looking to do some infrastructure development in high schools, especially in the Denby High School, which we are a part of and which we base our academy. And you all will be hearing a lot more about that in the coming days. But my perspective on what would have happened at Sabina Park, by all accounts and by all means, it was the most advertised test match in the Caribbean over the last 15 years. And the turnout was remarkable at Sabina Park. The government alone directly put in 75 million for the lights and made available 31 million as it regards to the scoreboard. So they would have made a huge investment after not bidding for the recently concluded 2024 World Cup. And it is undisclosed the money that the JCA themselves paid and also Cricket West Indies. But they would have done that for nothing at all. The worst batting performance that West Indies would have experienced since I have witnessed the 51 all-out against England years ago, and also seen the team bowl out for 85 against Sri Lanka just before the 2007 World Cup. And this speaks to West Indies cricket and what is happening with West Indies cricket. Is that our administrators, the new administrators, came in on the backdrop of saying that they are going to change our cricket system. Now, if you're going to change something, you're expecting to see better. And what West Indies cricket would have gone through over the last few years is worse. During the Cameron, the fellow Jamaican and Dave Cameron administration, the West Indies would have never missed a World Cup. They had to go to the qualifying stage for the 2019 World Cup, which they went and went to the World Cup in England. But under Dr. Shallow and before him, Ricky Skerrick, West Indies missed the 2023 World Cup, and they also missed out on a few other World Cup. And as you would know, they would have been booted out of the World Cup that went on in the UAE and did not perform any at all in the World Cup that was held in Australia. And so people should look on this as a one-time thing. It is a continuous decline since this administration. And why it continues to decline? Because as you hear them talk about data, they are not doing data, they are doing friend. They are doing who can toe the line with them, who they like, who can work with them. I am doing a lot for cricket and its development here in the country. But yet I went to Sabina Park the other day and I was asked to stay outside. My pass was taken away from me because I am considered too critical. But the truth about it is that we must analyze our cricket here in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, and we must speak truth to power. And the truth to power is that we have a batting coach that have never achieved anything significant for West Indies. Since he was playing, he was made the captain because our administrators did not want to pay our players and they kept back from playing, and then they had to field a second string team. That's how Mr. Floyd Reefer got the captaincy of West Indies against Bangladesh. And so he would have never achieved anything done by handing the captaincy, yet he's our batting coach. So if he don't know how to bat, how can he teach other players how to bat? The other significant thing is that Mr. Darren Sammy, despite it is a stipulation for the West Indies head coach that you must attain at least 3 levels, Mr. Darren Sammy, up until now, if I am not mistaken, is not yet a level 3 certified coach. And therefore, when you have all of these things and you put them together, it is the for disaster, you know. And when you look at Andre Kohli, who is a level 3 certified coach, and you remove him after he having good performance against Australia, against Bangladesh, against Pakistan in their home condition, and when you look to remove a man like that and put in Darren Sammy, sometimes the captain, the president should not have his own way, because his own way might not be the best way for West Indies cricket. And because of now the region allowing Mr. Dr. Kishore Shallow to have his own way, West Indies cricket has gone into disaster. It is reckless. It is hurting. It is disappointing to see the performance of our West Indies team. I was on my way to Kingston, and when I saw the score, I had to turn back, because by the time I reached into Kingston, the West Indies would have been already out of the batting. And so I had to go back home and watch the rest of Disaster from my TV. It is shameful. And on top of it, you have a president, after asking three legends to come and try to dissect the matter and put suggestion forward, came on a Barbadian cricket show a few days after defending a coach that completely don't know what he's doing. Outside of cricket, I and Darren Sammy have a very good relationship, but he must understand that we must be critical where we see the need to be critical. And I am taking this opportunity to ask for the full resignation of head coach Darren Sammy from his current position as West Indies red ball coach.
Thank you very much, dear Junior Codlin. As I said, a lot of meat again. Carlton, you know what I'm gonna do now? You know, we did mention Dr. Shallow, but now we're gonna have you unpack what Junior have said to your best of your ability. We're not here to criticize or anything. We're just here to talk about a sport that we all love. You know, so if you are able to unpack that, also now going a level higher than the coach, you know, with Dr. Shallow, just give us your views on this, you know, by unpacking what was just said a while ago.
Thank you very much. Now, the comments by Dr. Shallow yesterday on that show was very, very heart-wrenching. I'm gonna try to see if I can play the video, the comment, and if you're hearing it, if your listeners are hearing it, but I'm looking for it here. I should come to it in a very short while, because I want to play the comment before.
But Darren continues to get unfair criticism.
Are you hearing it?
Yes.
Criticism, because he's from a small island. And listen, some people may run from that fact, but I won't run from the fact, because insularity is something that still exists in our system that I believe we need to rid of. CLR James wrote about that, right? Some of our former greats also mentioned that in the different texts that they have put out over the years. So we can't run from that. So when you unfairly criticize Darren Sammy calling for his head after his very first test series, despite seeing improved performance in his bowling, it could only be insularity. When you call on Miles,
that's a big statement to make, no? That's a very big statement to make.
And I will repeat it if you want me to, Andrew.
Please.
I know you like to play on radio and send across WhatsApp and in the following day. So let me repeat for you just in case you missed it.
Yes.
Darren Sammy, the head coach of the West Indies team, is being criticized unfairly because it's illusion. Right? Because he is considered.
That's it. You see that second part where Dr. Shallow, in all his grandeur, well, let's say Cricket West Indies president, because I don't know much about the man and I don't want it to come across as I'm attacking an individual. So let's say Cricket West Indies president. Cricket West Indies president was sitting on his throne and he was issuing down some instructions to his loyal subjects and say, you need to understand what I am saying, my loyal subjects. Stop criticizing the West Indies head coach. Stop the insularity. He was so boastful that he said to Andrew Mesa, hey, you heard it, the second part. And I'm paraphrasing here. Andrew, if you didn't hear what I said the first time, let me repeat it for you so that you can send it all over the place. That is boastful arrogance to the next level. Good evening, Juna. I forget to hail you. Big up, my friend. How you doing? Now, you see, the person, the loudest cries of insularity often come from those most deeply rooted in it. You know, he who shouts insularity the loudest usually guards the smallest door. I am baffled or Dr. Shallow on Tuesday morning, Dr. Shallow, Tuesday morning, he put out a statement talking about togetherness. Togetherness, Tuesday morning. And by Tuesday evening, he was crying insularity. Let me read part of the statement that Dr. Shallow put out Tuesday morning. I can only assume that he probably never read this statement. It's probably his PR team put it out. Here's what the last two paragraphs of that statement said. Consistent with my message over the last weeks, this is a moment that calls for collaboration, not division. Not division. We need everyone on board. Fans, players, coaches, legends, and administrators. Everyone on board. If we are to truly move forward. There's much work to be done, but we must do it with purpose. And we must do it together. That's what Dr. Shallow said. That's what Dr. Shallow said Tuesday morning. And by Tuesday afternoon, Dr. Shallow is making that boastful statement that it's insularity why we are criticizing Darren Sammy. I think that there are many other ways in which Cricket West Indies president could have defended the head coach without invoking insularity in his argument. In my opinion, unless Dr. Shallow can provide evidence of the insularity, he should step down as West Indies president. That's how I feel.
That's a strong statement there, But guess what? I really believe that a lot of cricket fans around the world was kind of offended by the statement and in the way that it was said. And as you said, in the morning you're saying one thing, and by evening it's a total flip. And I think that did not sit well and still will not sit well with West Indies cricket and the whole the Caribbean. And if we did not come out and say, guess what? This is not fair to spectators, followers, lovers of the cricket, in the way he came about doing it. And as you said, there are so many other ways that he could have spoken and bring across a solid message that would have united us as West Indian. Junior, anything there? I know you're probably still there.
Yeah, I have to agree with Mr. Brown that there's many other way that he could have gone about it, but these things have to be, he must be exposed. Dr. Shallow, I believe, I have shared during his presidency a good relationship with him. We do speak from time to time. But Dr. Shallow have to understand that he wants to do too many things. He wants to be Prime Minister. He wants to be President of Cricket West Indies, which he is. He wants to be a Member of Parliament. He wants to lead the country of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He can't do it all. You can't have your cake and eat it at the same time. What Dr. Shallow should look to do in the upcoming elections in St. Vincent and the Grenadines should decide whether he wants to continue to be the president of Cricket West Indies, or if he don't want to, he resign from the job and go run in the election in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I say all of this to say that because he wants to do so much things, the one that he's doing now, it's getting a very bad reaction because he wants to be jack of all trades. You must be loyal to one thing. Dr. Shallow recent outbursts, I find it to be reckless. I find it to be off key. I find it to be rather disturbing. You cannot be the president of Cricket West Indies and presiding over a disastrous tour of England. England truly beat us disastrously. Now, we must talk about Darren Sammy because Darren Sammy wants to be the captain. He wants to be the head coach. He wants to be the chief selector. And so therefore, if the team not performing as how it is to perform, we must criticize him. It cannot be unfair to call Darren Sammy into question when we just came from England and were badly beaten by England. We only beat Ireland on that tour of the UK. We lost every other game that we play in the UK except against Ireland and the ones that were rain out. We were properly beaten in one of the games against Ireland. So we have to call for the head of Darren Sammy. When we lose a test series 3-0 and the final test, we were bowled out for 27. Why shouldn't we be calling for Darren Sammy head? We would have called for any other cricket coach head. So why can't we call for Darren Sammy? It is not because he came from St. Lucia. It is not because he's not a Jamaican or a Trinidadian or a Barbadian. He's not coaching the team properly. That is the reason why we are calling for Darren Sammy's head, because we love West Indies and we want West Indies to be better than they are now. And Darren Sammy is a liability to the West Indies cricket team.
Well, Juna.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, 1 second there, hold a bit there, Juna and Carlton. So we just want to acknowledge the presence of Darren Powell, a former West Indian fast bowler who have just greeted the stage by cell phone calling in.
He had played for West Indies?
Yeah, man, Darren Powell.
Well, no, I mean, I remember.
All right, so Popo, welcome
Good
to the
evening,
platform,
gentlemen.
Popo.
Good evening,
Good
gentlemen.
afternoon, welcome. All right.
Good evening,
So,
Mr. Powell.
Good evening to you, sir. I heard you loud and clear, but you know, by the time I finish giving my few points, you will remember that I used to play.
All right, sir.
Well, Popo, we're longing to hear the views of a former West Indian. We heard Carl Hooper come out and he's saying basically he is ashamed of our performance. He's calling for the head of Darren Sammy. So, as a former West Indian cricketer who have represented us to the fullest of your ability, I want you to weigh in on what is happening currently in the West Indies camp.
First of all, everyone is very disappointed, and there are a lot of things being. I have been on numerous programs, and I heard the disgust, and I watch the news, I read the papers, and there are a lot of things being said. But all that has been said between 2002, when I made my debut, up until now, these points have been the same. And we only get back a flashback of the closest downhill to what has happened a few years ago when we had England here at Sabina Park, when the West Indies team was bowled out for 47 with Steve Harvison, Chris Gale, Sarwan, Lara, everyone played. And people came up with all sorts of things. Some said Lara should have retired. Sometimes we get rid of Gale. There was an incident with Shanda Park, with Sawan and Gale after another test match at Sabina Park with the same Australians, I believe. And after we lost the match, they went to party in the Mount. And we hear all sort of head to be rolled and all these things. The fact of the matter is, I don't think we as Caribbean people are really honest with ourselves and really pointing the fingers in the corner in which they need to be pointed. Andre Coley did a fantastic job in bringing the team to a point where we started drawing some games and winning some. And even then, we wanted to run away Brathwaite because Brathwaite was batting too slow. I remember they said it's time to change Coley because Coley not taking us any further. I only find it sad to know that after we won in Australia and in Pakistan and draw those series 1-1, we have a wholesale change in about 11 players from that squad isn't in this squad that played and lost 3-0 to Australia now. And nobody have recognized that. Everybody is counting on the fact that we had been bowled out for 27 and Sammy need to go. Whether Sammy, Coley, you get back John Dyson, Benny King, anybody you want to get back, Roger Harper, any one of them. The main problem we have in the Caribbean is we are not putting the infrastructure to develop our batsmen for them to improve on their techniques. We have flat wickets, that's number one. Number two, we do not have a program for any age level at all after they leave the national program in any country at all, whether Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, or anywhere. This morning, I was watching South Africa play New Zealand, and from last year under 19 World Cup, 3 players from the under 19 squad is in the South Africa national team playing now. How many is playing in the national team for us here? Our infrastructure is the problem. Nobody is doing that. And most of our legends, like the kudos of the talks and how they were great then, they are not making any input at all. Some playing golf, some don't watch cricket, none at all. All these things, and our cricket is falling apart, and it is falling on one shoulder. The coach of West Indies cricket, and the second shoulder is on the captain of the West Indies team, and the third is the helpless players. The bowlers are doing their part, but the batters are weak in defense. They're weak and limited in their stroke play. They don't have patience because what they're doing. And our structure is so poor that we are using players who are making their international debut for West Indies through 2020 cricket, coming into Test cricket, when it should be moving from Test cricket to 50 over to T20. So we are doing it the back way. And that is the problem. And I am hoping after this meeting with the 3 legends, they can come to a solution and come to the consensus that we need to put up an academy in every territory and get coaches who are not just certified coaches, but coaches who are qualified. We have so many certification run, and I'm going to say this and I don't want to offend anyone. We had a technical director in Jamaica cricket for 10 years. Whom did not play first-class cricket for Jamaica, who was the head of all of those programs to run coaching certificate and stuff like that. And when you look at the number of players who were certified as coaches, we end up last year and the year before last having a player being embarrassed getting a coaching job because the players themselves say he cannot demonstrate to them how to play forward or to hold a bat or to how to handle themselves out in the middle when they're under pressure. And it's all because we gave people jobs because they're good friends or they have a particular background. And that is what caused the deterioration of West Indies cricket.
That's a lot being said there, Darren Powell. And with that, I don't want you to go and I don't get this one across. I can remember when you retired from first class and international cricket, you retired citing the desire to open up more opportunities for younger players. I know you're a man of your word who would want to do this. Could you just tell us some of the drawbacks that would have prevented former players? Because we see we have so many excellent players, but we don't see them in the program. Could you just highlight to the audience, to the community, what prevents people like you guys who've been through the system, but you're not able to really give back the service you'd want? Because when you retired, that was part of your plan that you would want to give back to the younger players. What happened there? And what's happening in West Indies cricket and us not having these legends coming back to give their support?
Well, there are a few things, and it's very disheartening. They are territorial driven, whereas you have to come from a certain background. You have to be in certain people corner to be established or to be pushed into an arena. The other part of it is sponsorship to help and to run programs. And one of the bitterness I still carry, and it doesn't have me to the point where I am not supporting or I would not speak to someone, but is that taste or that feeling that when you approach people whom we know plays cricket at some level in Jamaica and are very wealthy now, they tend not to support the development of cricket. They rather sit in the corner and bash the cricket. You won't have a company or any one of those people who own those companies would want to sponsor cricket. Why? You hear them. As a man made a West Indies team, Lord Inga make money now. All these things. They don't look at how or what the struggle they do or they go through to get to that point to start earning. But the first thing that comes to mind is that they're going to make money. If those players establish themselves and reach to a point where they can rub even shoulders with them who studied in colleges and stuff like that and come beside them now, they want to frown on those players and say, oh, when they are sad because he going to make a little money over the sun. He will come and feel like me, I'm a big man. They don't see or have that level of respect for people who come through the sporting arena and earn. So it is a battlefield. And if you don't have the know-how and the things that you need to do it on your own, you will not succeed. I'm going to call a person name whom a lot of people seems to forget. And I remember 3 years ago, there was a warning to the Caribbean by a particular player. 2 players who were pushed aside by West Indies cricket and also Jamaica cricket. And I am not in any apologetic mood about it because it's facts. Ricardo Powell is one and Brenton Parchment is the other. When Ricardo went to America, he built an academy. And during the process of his academy being run, Ricardo said in the next 5 years, America cricket gonna pass the Caribbean. Brenton Parchment, who is the highest level coach in the Caribbean sitting now, was working with the Jamaica Talawas as an assistant to someone, and every player loved him and there was a job for the Jamaica senior team, and he was pushed aside because he wasn't one of those fellows who used to sit and chat and drink with other people. And he is one now who is working with Ricardo Powell in his academy in the US. Right as we speak, the US have 2 under-19 teams in the under-19 tournament in St. Kitts now. And one of them is unbeaten up to this morning. They beat every single team. And that is where the cricket is going. The programs are working. And we have nothing here more than criticism. And that cannot help West Indies cricket.
Darren, I want to ask you some things here. Well, I agree with the position that the changing out of the team from Australia through Bangladesh through Pakistan, because Haj and Atanase would have played somewhere between 7 and 10 matches between them. So let's put it at 10. In their 10 matches that they have played, they have averaged mid-20s. And I'm not saying you're saying that mid-20s mediocre, is far below average. But the other batsmen, Hope in his last 10 test matches, have averaged 17. Chase in his last 10 test matches, 13. Carty in his 8 matches that he played before now, 17.95. Why would you drop the 2 persons who have averaged the most during the last 2 years and bring in some persons who average 8, 10 less than them? It's fascinating. But you talk about infrastructure, my good friend. You talk about Darren.
Yeah.
What exactly is the infrastructure you think that we're lacking? The second question is that what about players' responsibility? What about the responsibility of the players to improve their game? And you spoke about sponsorship and all the challenges that you have with sponsorship and the social profiling of the persons. Them, I don't have that experience, and again, I don't move in your circle, so you would have those experience. But if we look in places like England, Australia, even the USA that you mentioned, India, it's parents who paid for their children to go and learn cricket. It's not sponsorship that does it. And maybe that's something that we need to move away from, because it's not sponsorship that does it in these things. It's parents playing for their children to go and learn the cricket. So I just want asking you to react to those things for me, please.
All right. Take it from the top. The infrastructure I'm talking about is academies in each territory, and also the improvements of the playing conditions, the wicket itself. All of them need sorting out, whether it is at the club level or at the first class level. Every wicket around, they need improvement, and the academy is something whereas you do not just start with people who are from the under 14 or under this or under that. You can start anywhere from around under 17 going up. That is where I believe it is most important. Reason I said that is when we were playing cricket back in our youthful time, we used to have companies who were responsible for all the competitions that is run in Jamaica. You remember Carib Cement, you remember Alpart, you remember Money Musk, all people who used to sponsor. Those are out because of the changes of society. All of those. And it's not because somebody wished they just want to lock down Alpart and all those companies. It's just because of the economical situation. So we move away from that. But we have other companies which is doing well, which are owned by former cricketers themselves, former football players, other people who love to follow cricket. They are not sponsoring it. So if they are not, I believe that not only the West Indies board, but ICC needs to find a way in which they help from their revenue to help with the cricket in the region. I don't believe that you can be collecting money from every quarter and there is none coming back out to any single soul. FIFA runs football and you can see what they do right around the world. Where does ICC money goes? Nobody never asks that question. And that is one I would love for them to answer. The second one is you're
Players'
talking about
responsibility. What about
players who are
responsibility?
investing in themselves. That is what you're
Yes.
talking about? Right.
Yeah, their
No,
responsibility to spend the hours training, because as I mentioned, for the last 2 to 3 years, West Indies batsmen are averaging 10%, 10 runs. 10 runs against ball that pitch in a good era for the last 3 years. So all the opposition need to do, and you saw it in the 3 test match series. Look how many straight balls out our batsmen them, and they're just missing straight balls because they can't even defend the ball on a good length and a good line. It's 10 runs they're averaging against those balls. I mean, I don't need anybody to tell me to work on that.
well, it
All
goes
right,
again.
Darren, hold a second there.
Yeah.
Just 1 second between you and Carlton. I want to just take this minute to welcome Roger Tracy to the platform. He is the president of the South Florida Cricket. He is also a part of the Palm Beach Hurricane team, the man who is behind cricket here in the USA. So what you have talked about, Darren, in terms of the growth of cricket in the US, Roger Tracy is pattern on that. He also has his own program, which he'll tell you about. But tonight, on his program, Roger had a survey up there in terms of Darren Sammy, who said to sack Darren Sammy, who not. So Roger, I wouldn't mind you come on, introduce yourself, tell us the poll, and give us a quick view, because you already know what we're talking about. And then we're gonna go right back to Darren Powell.
All right. Good night, Ian. How you guys doing? Good night, Darren. Good
Good
night,
night. Good
Carlton.
night.
And good night to all your viewers. Um, yes, you are correct in that a lot of the viewers, I think 65% of the viewers on my show earlier tonight indicated that they would like to see Darren Summit sacked. No, I don't necessarily agree with that position because again, Darren Sammy as test coach was just appointed, and this is his first series. So whether or not we agree on whether Darren Sammy should have been given the job, Ian, I think that's a different story. Maybe he should have, maybe he should not have. But if you're gonna assign someone as a head coach after 3 games, after one series, I don't believe it's the right time to say you're gonna sack Darren Sammy as the head coach. In fact, what I would say is, I think we would be unreasonable as a cricketing public if any of us expected the West Indies to actually beat Australia in this Test series, or to be honest, in any of these games. Did we have a chance? Did we have an opportunity to win all 3 games going into the last day? Absolutely. And that was the same for the Sabina Park test. And I'm pretty sure that after the third innings, after Australia were bowled out for a little bit over 100, I don't know if a lot of these fans would have been calling for Darren Sammy to be sacked. So that game, Ian, is always going to be known as the 27 game, right? It was very embarrassing to us fans. I'm sure embarrassing to the region. It's a bit of a shock to the system, Ian. And for me, what that 27 should do, it should serve as a catalyst for our leaders in the Caribbean, for Kishore, Shallow and company, to really get up, get up off their butts and do something about our system, because these players these players are a product of a failing system. We don't have the system, or we don't have a proper system. We don't have the right systems in place, I should say. We don't necessarily have the infrastructure. We don't have a a system of excellence, where a system does not demand excellence, and as a result, it has put out a mediocre product. These players are a product of the system. It's not a team. Obviously there were missteps by Darren Sam in this series, not just in this series, but leading up to this series. We saw the removal of Robin Powell as captain. We saw Warrican being named as vice captain when yes, was he the number one spinner at the time? Yes, he's outbowled Gudakesh Moti for the last couple of series. But in my opinion, these are two good left arm spinners. And there was a time when Moti outbowled Warrican. Warrican has outbowled Moti now for these last couple of series. Now, who is the better cricketer overall of these two? Some would say it's Moti overall. The point is, Ian, naming Warrican as vice captain effectively ends the career of Moti in the short term, which I believe these two gentlemen should be constantly competing for that position. So that's an obvious misstep. The Australians reading the Savannah Park pink test conditions better than the West Indian think tank. A misstep again. If Australia is going to decide to drop a great spinner, and he's a great. Nathan Lyon has almost 600 wickets in Test cricket, and the West Indies are going to decide to bring back their spinner, who is nowhere in the category of a Nathan Lyon. That is being done because the Australians believe that this particular surface, these conditions, under lights, is going to be a seamer, is a seamer friendly condition. We brought back our spinner mainly because, in my opinion, I'm pretty sure if Warrican was not the vice captain of the team, he would not have been brought back. But Darren Sammy and crew obviously feels that it's not right. They don't want to leave the vice captain out for 2 games in a free test match series. It ended up that in the seamer friendly sort of series, I think Warrican, took no wickets, made 3 or 4 runs, and that was his contribution for the entire series. So an obvious misstep there in naming him vice captain, knowing that, depending on conditions, the fact that he may not, he could at any point be outbowled by someone else. He wasn't necessarily a sure pick in the team. So there are many missteps. I think Carlton mentioned Afanis and Hodge. Now, I believe that again, Darren Sammy at the start after the team was selected said, you know what, these guys are not undroppable, which I agree with. None of these guys are undroppable, right? And just like the guys who are coming in are not necessarily putting up their hands and saying, you have to select me, right? No one is saying that. So if the coach has a vision, if the coach has a plan, and he says, you know what, let's give someone else a try, in a sense, that's okay. Personally, I believe that at least one of those two gentlemen should have been selected. There were enough spots in the squad to select him. Someone like a Mikael Louis, I'm sure it's clear, obviously dominated our first class season a year ago in 2024, but it should have been clear to a lot of folks that this guy's not ready for international cricket. One of those two gentlemen could have taken that spot in the squad, right? So an obvious misstep. Kevlin Anderson making his debut under lights at Savannah Park in a pink ball test. Again, an obvious misstep. Something that a lot of casual fans would have seen Ian and known that this wasn't necessarily a good idea. But again, for some reason, Sammy and the think tank thought to themselves, hey, this is perhaps a good idea. Obviously it did not work out, but again, it's all about putting these players in positions to be successful. And while there has been some missteps, I still believe it's one series, and we definitely, once you give someone the job of a test coach, which is a very, very important role, you want to give them some time to put their plans in place and give them enough time to see if it's working.
Yeah, Raja, I think you have to come out and show your face, because what you have just said, what you have just given to the public, to the viewers, is nothing more than positivity, real critical evaluation, it seems like you have done your work in terms of analyzing what has happened in the West Indies currently, leading up to it and everything. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
That
man. I'm
for
traveling. I'm traveling, so that's why
okay.
I'm actually heading to the airport to pick up my little cousin. So that's why I'm off camera.
You know what? Before you go off, tell them where they can find you. So I like this because all of you guys that's on here are analysts. You know the game to a T. You guys been following world cricket. So tell them how they can find you because we're gonna have Carlton do the same thing, and also we're gonna bring Junior to do the same thing. So tell them where they can find you, Roger.
All right, guys, you can find me on the Massive Hit Cricket Show on YouTube. So it's Massive Hit Cricket. You can also follow me on social media at Massive Hit Cricket on Instagram, also on X, and on Facebook.
All right, thank you, dear Roger. And in this sense, we know we still have a spectator just joined us. Conroy Miller, also a pace bowler from back in Jamaica, play for Melbourne and the south side of St. Elizabeth. So we want to just take a quick view from one of our spectators because the game cannot go on without the spectator, the support. Conroy, if you're listening, just a quick light on what's been said so far. Then we're going to go back to Carlton and Darren Powell. Are you there, Conroy? Come off mute if you're there. All right. It seems
He's not there.
Yeah. All right. So Darren,
I would like Darren to answer the question about personal responsibility. You know,
ahead, Darren.
Players. As I pointed out, the batsmen average 10 runs to good deliveries. Why? What about their personal responsibility just to tighten up their defense? Everything starts from there.
Well,
Go ahead, Bob.
that is a very good point, good question you asked there, because of the fact that I can remember as far as back as to 2013, 2014, I saw one particular player who made that special investment in themselves, which was Andre Russell, who bought himself a bowling machine and fixed himself a proper net at his house. And he has his buddies, that was Kennard, Lewis, and all those guys used to go there and practice and help him to develop his craft. And look what he turned out to become. One of the best all-rounders we have in T20 cricket. But when you look at the other players, I don't believe that I'm not sure now about these new players, but I don't think they take their game as seriously as that they would want to pay any money for anybody to help them with their personal gains. I believe that most of the times you see these players, if you don't find a coach or somebody to push them, they're not being pushed. Even at the senior cup level, people who play under 19 and in the national setup, they are not self-driven. They are not self-driven at all. They don't see themselves going to a park, getting somebody to help them to do some throwdowns or anything like that. And I believe that the whole reason for this is either the lack of resources, or they just don't care, or they don't value themselves. So I can't respond to it as how I would want to, because I don't know of their background to that sense. But as I said before, the only way development can happen if there are places that things are being set up, and then when it is being set up, you will know if it is their point or their choice not to, or they just don't care. I don't know. But at the moment, I believe that the infrastructure is what is needed at this level. Even the contracted players I know of in the Jamaica setup, when they go to Kingston, they have the machines and all these things. But my whole take on personal development is Brendan Nash. I can remember when he came in Jamaica, we had him around the Jamaica team for about 3 or 4 years. And Brendan Nash, every single person said, oh, a real pro this. He's a real professional, all these things. And what he did was doing specific drills. And I have never seen one batsman from Brendan Nash leave Jamaica. Never seen one batsman until today do any specific drills in their warm-up, much less a net session. They just throw the ball anywhere on the grass, hit it, it bounce back, and they are not working on anything. And that is very sad. It goes again to the under 29 squad that was being selected the other day. I saw them practicing, and I cannot believe these are players who are being paid in this time and era to play cricket, are getting an opportunity to come and be fringe player to step into a real big zone. And they just go about it. If the coach don't come, they don't move. They sit and wait. So these players are being, to me, not realizing the importance of self-development.
Thank you, Darren.
You're welcome.
Yeah, yes, Mr. Host.
All right. Carlton, did Darren answer your question the way you wanted it to?
Well, no, you see, for me, Ian, is not necessarily answering the question the way I want to, because everybody has their own opinion of going about things. And once you can respect another person's view, whether you agree with it or not, you can always take something from it. Because my grandmother told me a long time ago, so when somebody is saying something, you don't need to accept everything they are saying. You must probably find 2 or 3 things out of it and work with it. So it's not about really, yeah. I am not one who, when I ask a question, I don't have any specific answers in mind. I listen to what the person is saying and see if it makes sense or not. That's what I do.
All right. So a question for you now, Carlton.
Yes.
And this is more specific because we already talked about the captaincy. We talk about the management overall. Now we kind of treading down the player. Do you think, and this could also umbrella everything else, was it a lack of preparation? We hear Darren talk about personal, people don't have that personal interest. Or is it a lack of discipline during the series? Or we were just outclassed? Tell us what you think.
During the series? Well,
yeah,
I would have made a point, Athanaze and Arch, and I made the point they are not good. They are below average. But they played on 2 winning teams. They played on teams that won match in difficult condition against these same Australian bowlers and in Pakistan. I would not have left them out of my team. And number, as you hear Roger said, because the paradox I don't understand, that Roger is saying that he's Sammy in. But yet still he lists about 20 errors that Sammy made. So I didn't quite understand that. I don't have to go over them. But I think Sammy made numerous mistakes. And going forward, I hope that he won't make those mistakes. Because apparently he's still going to be the West Indies head coach. And he said that 65% of his viewers are not in support of Sammy continuing as coach. And 65% is a big total. But I don't think that we have the quality in the West Indies to consistently make runs. I made the point earlier, and that's the statistics. And I'll say it again. Our batsmen average 10 runs to deliver that pitch in a good era. So there are 3 things that we need to do, in my opinion. 1, we need to do the basics things well and do it so well that we are very close as possible to mastery, to perfection. 2, we need to become an elite fit team. Because without being fit and strong, when you are on 70-80 in a cricket match, The both of you are fast bowlers, so I don't know if you ever reached there so yet. You know, but when you're in 70s, 80s, you know, when you play a shot, you feel it in your belly, you know, in your back, you know. So when you reach, you need to be fit and strong. That is the second thing. And the third thing is that we do not have the mental resilience. We do not have the mental toughness to cope. You know, every little thing. Give you an idea. Look at the Justin Greaves run out. Do you think that if Joe Root or even the Australians them, when they realize that they're in danger, you think they want to bust a dive? It's because of the mental resilience, the weakness. So those are the three things we need to work on. West Indies batting is very poor. They have to take personal responsibilities and they have to improve those three things.
Darren, I'm gonna
Yes.
turn over to you. I know you have seen the flaws and everything, but now we realize that basically West Indies is calling for the legends of the game to come in, and basically I don't know what they expect, but some miracle that we should get our West Indies back to the days of those glorious days where everybody used to love cricket. That were the days when I know my father way back used to have at least 8 to 10 batteries attached, whether it's in a little cardboard wrap up together so that he don't miss a single ball of the cricket. But so we see where West Indies, they're now calling back for some legends. I'm just gonna put you in the seat here, Darren Powell. If they should call you, Darren Powell, as a past player with all the experience and say, hey, you already see what is happening in the team. How do we move forward? Let us hear your views in the way we could move forward and help this next generation of cricketers.
First, my first question would have been amongst the players themselves. What are their plans to improve their game? How they think they can change it or make themselves better or give better performances for the West Indies. Once I hear them and hear their commitment, and from there on, then I can know how to plan with them. The second move is I am not gonna do any wholesale change, except for the fact that I would have to get the selectors back in play, other than leaving everything for the coach to manage. Both three teams. The other one is have a good discussion with the region body, the West Indies president and all the directors from every islands that builds up that board, and get them to understand that the way we are addressing the cricket, it is not so. It's not the time now to point fingers at the players. We need to put things in place to make it better for the players. And that is getting the academies and getting the facilities that suitable for the development of cricket. After that, we'll leave everything to manifest itself. But that it would have been my little change, and I think that will be that big change. Reason being, and I'm going to tell you why I said this. We had the John Webby report, we have the Patterson report, we have all sorts of reports. And there's only one thing that has never been changed, is the infrastructure to develop and harness talent. And that is the one that is most needed at this point.
All right, thank you, sir. You've been heard. Carlton, Raja is back. Raja, if you're listening, I know you're on mute. But if you're listening, I think Carlton have a question for you that probably he said was unanswered. So Carlton, Raja is back, and you could pose a question over to Raja and let Raja dissect and give us again his view.
I don't remember the question, but I'm always asking Raja question because I love to.
I know the question. I know the question, Carlton.
What's the question?
So Carlton mentioned that I mentioned all the mistakes that Darren Sammy made. I refer to them as missteps. All right, same thing. And yet I'm still a supporter of keeping Darren Sammy. No, what I'm saying is this: in my eyes, a lot of those things that I'm referring to as missteps are things that Sammy could have done better. And what I'm saying is, I need to see improvement and see improvement quickly. I'm not expecting an error free or mistake free sort of tenure from Darren Sammy, but I want to see improvements. I want to see incremental improvements, just like I want to see improvements from the players. I know where the players are. So now the players need to accept where they are. Darren Simon needs to look at what they have done, and if there are mistakes made, they need to correct them and correct them quickly. Because if they don't correct them quickly, then we're going to continue on a downward spiral. For now, I'm still supporting Darren Sammy as the test head coach because, again, he was just given the job a few months ago. This is his first series as the West Indies red ball head coach. And again, in my opinion, some of the things that were done are definitely missteps. Again, I mentioned him. I mentioned the vice captaincy, the naming of Jamel Warken as vice captain. I mentioned the selections at Savannah Park. So these are things that I obviously don't agree with. A lot of the Caribbean don't agree with. And I think if we're honest, we can say these were errors. I'm hoping that Darren Sammy accepts these as clear errors, and these are things that we can fix going forward. We don't want a situation where we're bullish about some of the things that we have done, whether they're right or wrong. We want to see an acceptance of some of these errors, and we want to see how we can move forward. I know you also mentioned the legends coming in, Vibritras, Clive Lloyd, and
Well, let me ask you something though, Roger.
yeah, go ahead.
I think that persons are trying to justify Darren Sammy position. And remember, I'm Darren Sammy in and I'm not yet Darren Sammy out. But the conversation that I'm hearing around Darren Sammy as head coach is that persons are saying that is only one test series. But I don't think that the persons who are saying that Darren Sammy out are looking at the test series. They are looking at his coaching since he took over in 2023. And if you look at his performances as coach over that time, it's a fair argument to say that he's out of his depth.
All right. So what I would say to that is the reason he was given the test coach, if you remember, Carlton. No, it's a fact that Darren Sammy has lost his last four series. Let's obviously there's a draw in Ireland, but I'm not even looking at that. He lost the series, the one day, both white ball series in England, and then one of the white ball series against Bangladesh, and now the test series. This test series, we would have expected to lose this test series against Australia, right? Now, before
I don't like
before
expect doesn't mean acceptance.
all right, but here's what I'm saying: we have to be realistic. We have to be realistic about where we are. Okay, as West Indian cricket fans, we have to be realistic about where we are. I don't know if anyone expected the number 9 team in the world to beat the number 1 team in the world. But
But should we accept mediocrity? Should we accept embarrassment? That's a difference, Expectation and embarrassment.
we are demanding. We're not accepting. We're demanding an improvement in the system that produces these mediocre players. We have a system that is not driven by excellence. We have a system that does not demand excellence. We are demanding that this changes. It's not an acceptance, but I'm saying we have to know where we are at this point. That is the only way to improve. We have to know exactly where we are. We have to accept where we are and then accept that we need to get better. How can we get better? They have commissioned Brian Lara and these guys to come in. But what is going to happen when these guys come in and give their ideas and give their suggestions? Are we going to implement and accept these changes if they make sense? Or is it lip service? Is it something for us Caribbean fans to see and think that something is happening And then, like we've seen before, once maybe West Indies wins the T20 series or wins a couple of games next week, and then all is forgotten. Is that going to happen? I'm not sure, but I'm hoping again that 27, because that Sabina Park test is going to be known as 27 going forward. I'm hoping that what 27 does, it drives these people to work. It drives them to make the necessary decision. It drives them to implement the things that we need to see implemented so that the system can get better. The system that produces these players, and hopefully we can start producing players of a higher standard. Whatever is need to be done, we have to do. Everyone talks about the big three taking all the money, and the smaller nations not having a large enough piece of the pie. Obviously, that needs to improve as well, right? Darren mentioned earlier, we're not sure where the money is going. Obviously, we don't know. But at the end of the day, something needs to be done so that we can invest properly in those systems that produces our players. And if it's impossible for us to have more money to improve these systems, then we're gonna have to get very, very creative in how we try to harness the best young talent available around the region.
Let me butt in a bit there. We are here because of the 27. We are forgetting something. In the past 3 or 4 series in the Caribbean, this is the first. A matter of fact, from Australia been touring the Caribbean, this is the first an Australia team plays on a half good track, because I've seen worse. And not even one single batter made 100. We have bowled out Australia for under 300 5 times out of 6. The most they made was 310. It's not that we don't produce quality bowlers. We are producing 4 at the moment, 4 of the finest bowlers around world cricket now. These 4
Yes.
bowlers can make any team around the world based on what has demonstrated in the last 2 series, this bowling unit. Now, the batters, on the other hand, even when the Australians couldn't manage 300 runs, they find a way to graft all the way up to 280, 250. But because of we have poor technique because of bad practices, bad coaching, not only at the West Indies level, it's from the club level, under 19 all the way up. That is the reason we are finding this hole in the middle of the argument now. And when we look at the amount of coaches that has gone through the West Indies, I started in 2000, Roger Harper, then it went to Benny King, then it got to John Dyson, then it come around to Andre Coley, and now it Darren Sammy. Those are 5 different coaches. And if you check the eras in which all these coaches come through, there were some good positives along the way, but we find some way to disrupt what is happening. We were the only team went to South Africa and won a test match there. And when we came back to have the home series, 7 out of that squad got dropped. For what reason, nobody knows. We have a series just the other day in Australia. What happened? 11 players gone. Nobody remember anything about them. There's only 2 names called out of the 11, and it's De Silva and Hodge. Well, we hear Athanaze now, but Athanaze was his own demise, because Athanaze came back playing 4-day cricket and every other cricket and reverse sweeping and getting himself out, showing poor form. So he could not fit in the lineup. But I believe that we are missing everything, and I guarantee you, as you were just saying, If West Indies come out Sunday and Tuesday and win those two T20 games, nobody will remember what happened about this 27. No one. And that is what is killing West Indies cricket. We only make a lot of noise when there is a disappointment. But as soon as one game win, we gone right back to basic. Nobody follows through. Getting Lara, getting Serviv, and all these players to sit there, or these farmer grades to sit there and discuss all the issues is the right thing you just said. Are they gonna implement what has been discussed? That is a big problem. And that is where we're falling short since 1992, when they had the whole argument about Richie Richardson and Desmond Haynes, who should have captained the West Indies team.
I want to say something here, 'cause I didn't finish. Darren, well said. Some really solid points there. Carlton had actually asked me something. I didn't fully answer his question about the performance of the white ball team before Sammy was handed the test captaincy. No, obviously, Carlton, the reason why the test captaincy would have been handed to Darren Sammy is because people would have thought that he was getting good results in the with the white ball team. Obviously, notwithstanding what happened the last 2 or 3 series since December. But if you remember, Carlton, Darren Sammy, before we went to England, had a ODI record of 15 and 13 in 28 one days, right? They won 15, lost 13. So that was an obvious improvement from what we have had in the previous era as far as ODI cricket is concerned. And that would have been our weakest format.
Roger, I can't let you get away with that.
Go ahead.
West Indies have not played 28 ODI in the last 2 years. So
Since 2023? What's the record? Since 2023,
West Indies have not played 25 ODI.
23 ODIs.
West Indies have played 23 ODIs since
How many?
2023.
That's what I have here. How many you have?
No man, I don't have a number in front of me, but 23.
The record 28 ODI. The record is 15 and 13. That includes the World Cup qualifying tournament, Carlton. So I have 15 and 13, right?
The World Cup qualifiers.
It includes the World Cup qualifiers.
And those against the UAE too?
Yes, it includes all of them.
They are international.
They're internationals.
Yeah.
Listen. Also, remember, everyone was singing the praises of Darren Sammy and Rovman Paul moving the T20 team from 9 to 3. Obviously, went back to 5.
Let a statement and say everyone.
Well,
that's a generalization that you should never allow yourself to do.
So your Caribbean fans weren't happy that the team was now ranked at number 3 while the T20 World Cup was going on last year?
I'm trying to teach you something and you're trying to defend it as a generalization that you cannot guarantee. No matter who you think the thing is not everyone in agreement.
All right, but is it a fact that
everyone was in agreement, and I can support him because everyone spoke out against Rovman when he did not get he was relieved of the captaincy. So everyone was happy for the performance.
Oh, gentlemen, you cannot say everyone. You must say most. You can't say everyone. And not even Jesus Christ. Everyone agree with.
All right, let's go with most. Let's go with the majority. 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 Is it a fact? Is it a fact, Carlton, that the West Indies were ranked 9th at one point and then they came all the way to 3 and then so back to 5th? Fact.
What was the quality of the team that they played during that time? Which country did they play full strength? It is the ranking.
The ranking was number 3 from 9 in every aspect of which team, Australia, New Zealand,
hold on.
How many full strength teams?
I'm gonna tell you. The West Indies beat England. The West Indies beat England in the T20 series. Hold on. We beat England in the T20 series.
No, man. You don't hear my question, man. You don't hear my question. Which
How many full strength?
full strength? I never say full member. I say full strength team. We beat during that time.
South Africa was a full strength team. Carlton. South
Darren
Africa
Sammy
here.
was not the coach. Andre Coley was the coach.
Okay. All right. South Africa in the Caribbean, it wasn't the full strength team, but it was South Africa. Here's the thing that you gotta understand,
The
Carlton.
World Cup squad.
Most
No.
India. What about India and the Caribbean? India and the Caribbean, we beat 3-2 as well. Yes, Kohli didn't play, and a couple more guys, but they did play. Jaiswal, Tilak Verma, all of these guys.
We
Listen,
never beat any full strength team in that time.
here, yes,
We-
we did.
you
No
see-
team. No
you
team
see-
plays all their players. The West Indies team was never full strength, Carlton. The West Indies team is always missing someone, and we know this.
That's disingenuous for you to say.
No. The man speaking facts,
The
man.
West Indies team is one of the teams. Listen, if any team is not at full strength, the majority of the time is the West Indies. The West
The
Indies
West Indies,
are
that's true.
always missing a couple of their best. We can never have our best players. Whether it's 8 man missing flights, whether it's people not available, whether it's Andre Russell picking and choosing when he wants to play, whether it's Narayan who did not retire until the World Cup last year or before the World Cup. The West Indies are always one of the teams.
How could Narayan come in this argument?
Because Narayan was always one of the players who everyone was hoping would come back. That's the reason why Narayan finally retired.
Come on,
last
Raja,
year
man.
to-
Come on.
It is true.
Come on.
It is
Come on,
true.
man. Come on,
Until Narayan retired, there was always hope that he was going to come back. So the West Indies were never at full strength. It was missing. We were always missing Puran or somebody. Somebody was always missing from the West Indies team at all times.
Come
Yeah,
on.
Let us not go into the war of fighting. These were a reputable team that was put up there. And it was not just a team that anybody just go on the field. It was
Yes.
selected as
Yes.
a better team
Listen.
based on what
There's
Which
no weak Indian
which-
team,
which
Carlton. As a matter of fact,
Which
I'm going to say
match?
this.
Which match Darren Sammy won as a coach that really matters? Tell me which match he did win as a coach that really matters. Tell me.
All international games.
Sammy. So, but that's not what Sammy said. Darren Powell. Sammy said, "I'm here to win World Cups." So tell me which game did he win that really matters?
All the games that they won.
No, but he said that he's here to win World Cup.
That's
That's
true,
what-
but he did not win
what's
the World
that
Cup, but he got through the second
Are
to
you
the second
saying-
round. So
So are you
all
saying
the
if you don't-
important.
Yeah, the two most important team when we can say everybody was at full strength, because since you want to be semantic, come with some semantics, let's go to it now. In the World Cup, the two matches, South Africa and England. What happened there?
Wasn't the Afghanistan game important?
Yeah?
Wasn't the Afghanistan game important?
The two most important games that we played in the World Cup are which two?
All the games are important in the World Cup. You have to qualify. The
Come on.
Afghanistan game was an important game when Puran made 98.
Cut out the semantics, man. Cut out the semantics, man. There's no need to be defensive. Cut out the semantics. Sammy has never won an important game as coach. Even the old ODI World Cup qualifiers. Him lost badly. Failed to qualify against Ireland and them team there. And Netherlands. Sammy is out of his depth.
You sure you don't want him sack Sammy Carlton?
No. I'm not. No, man. I'm not.
But hey, Carlton, you keep saying you're Sammy in, but your utterances are very confusing right now because you sound very Sammy out.
But you see the thing about it. Look at it this way. Look at it this way. If my child come home from school this evening and I flog the child because of something that the child had done or something, and I have to flog the child, it doesn't mean the child is not going to get dinner. It doesn't mean the child is not going to be helped with his or her homework. It doesn't mean the child is not going to get his or her stipend to go to school in the morning.
I know, but the moment I say Sammy is out of his depth, I'm going to say he should be fired. The moment I have that opinion of him, that he's out of his depth, then why am I keeping him?
That is that.
Well,
that
that's your position.
All right, Carlton. Let Roger give his view and for the minute, and then we'll come back at it. So, Roger, finish up your views. You know, each person have the views. So we'll give Roger the floor for the minute.
Yeah, I think what I'm really saying here is there were encouraging performances by the team in the white ball format, and that is what led for the administration to obviously if Sammy was doing a poor job in ODIs, there's no way they were gonna ask him to okay, let me give you more responsibilities. That would not have been a thing. He was obviously doing a satisfactory job in that format. People were happy, most people were happy with the results of the white ball format, and that is why he was offered the job. And again, I'm going to say this clearly. At the time, my choice in terms of a red ball coach, I would have definitely gone with an overseas coach. That is what I wanted to see. But the fact that that did not happen of the candidates that were available, I was okay with Darren Sammy taking over from Andre Coley. Now that Darren Sammy has gotten the job, he really has to get an opportunity to show what he can do. But again, the fact that he has this all powerful position, it's and I went on Carlton's show maybe 2 or 3 months ago and I said this all powerful post is what is gonna get Darren Sammy in trouble. The fact that he's a selector and all of these things. I think if Darren Sammy is smart, he shouldn't wait for Kishore and these guys to do any sort of evaluation. He shouldn't wait for them to fire him. He should go to them and tell him that, hey, listen, I need some help here. I don't think that this system of me being the head cook and bottle washer, so to speak, of me being the coach of all the formats, me being the selector, me being the sort of guy with the final say is working. Let's get some selectors back into place. I think if he's smart, he's going to do that so they can get some checks and balances in the system. Because the system definitely needs checks and balances. There's no way you can have a position, and this is not a Darren Sammy critique. There's no way you can have a position that essentially makes all of these decisions, a position that is all powerful. Somewhere you have one person that can decide, you know what, I don't like this player and I'm going to end your career. I don't think anyone should have that sort of power in West Indies cricket.
I am still baffled because although I'm not looking at the numbers, but I'm still baffled that West Indies played 28 ODI since May of 2023. That's 28, even though I have the numbers in front of me, that's 28 ODIs in 2 years.
Yes, I just ran a quick chat GPT search. That's what came up, and usually it's pretty accurate.
I can't. Oh, what you said that
All right.
we won 15 ODI matches since Sammy took over. That's what you said.
And lost 13. Yes, that is what my research tells me.
That research need to be thrown away. 15 ODI. Who did we beat in 15 ODI matches?
Do you have some numbers or no?
Apparently you were sleeping, man. You don't watch much cricket.
Sleeping. 15 ODI matches. West Indies
all
won.
right.
West Indies won 15 one-day international matches since May 2023.
Guess what, Carlton? You know what? We're gonna let you finish up this side, and we're gonna let after Popo doing his piece, we're gonna have you research that and see how close you come to it. Give us something while Popo is gonna talk. So we're gonna let you on this side know.
Go ahead, Popo. No, me all right, but just can't understand that it's just buffering. Go ahead, Darren. Go ahead.
All right. There was a thing said earlier about the players and the ODI format and stuff like that with Darren Sammy. I am of the view. I am still of the view that Darren Sammy got the test job in a time when it surprises, if not many, but what Andre Coley was doing A lot of people was satisfied with the step that he was taking or making. Darren Sammy came out of the World Cup. We don't know what was the plan of the president or anyone. It was just that we got a shocking news. Like Darren, that like what his name, Coley would have been replaced by this what have you and all kind of something. And it just spun around the airways for a few moments or a few days, and then we hear that this one doing interview and what have you, and then it gone to Sammy. Right? Sammy got the job. Had it wasn't for the 27, I do not think they would be saying today, or we will be here saying head should be rolling and Sammy should go. The only big disappointment for me out of all of this is the utterance of the president when he said that Sammy came from a small island, which why people are saying this about Sammy. I think he should have apologized for that statement. It is very barbaric. I don't think that makes any sense now, that you can go so low as a president. I know you want to defend, or he want to defend the decision of making Sammy head coach for all three formats. But I don't believe that he should have gone down that road. And he repeated it because I was listening to it. And that is very sad. Now, I believe moving forward, he has to come to some consensus to what level of authority or power he will give Sammy from here on. It is very clear to everyone that he has made a lot of mistakes. People can learn from their mistakes. How fast Sammy can learn from his, we don't know. But I don't believe that we're gonna find, or we should find ourselves debating and cursing and making all these things rehash and without the right solution to move forward. I believe it's a time now for the Caribbean nation, to really come up with solutions. And when the solutions are being made, the right people in the right corner take the best one and move forward and start rebuilding West Indies cricket. I played for West Indies, and I can remember one year we played against Sri Lanka in St. Vincent, and we lost that game. And we went to KFC that night after we lost the game, and we had to run like crazy from KFC because the St. Vincent people didn't like the way we lose and we come pala for KFC. That to show some passion was there. I can feel the passion still in the Caribbean people. But without the right things being said and the right advice being given and the right thinking on how we're going to move and put them in one little cart and work hands in hand, whether we are the media house, whether we are fans on the corner, whether we're on the boards, or we are anywhere, once we're supporting West Indies cricket, I believe this is the opportune time for us now to stop the sleeping and wake up and start doing what we need to do to motivate these youngsters and not demoralize them and push them down and let them feel lesser than the ability that they have or they show for us to come, because Viv and Sir and Sir Gary and Brian and all these players and the Malcolm Marshall, nobody coming back. We are now looking forward, and we need to do the right things, say the right things. We need to get in the positive frame of mind. We can't go worse than where it is now. We can't go any worse. I can't, unless we're gonna all out for zero. And I don't think that day will ever come. So I believe now is the time for us to help and rebuild West Indies cricket in a positive way. Thank you.
All
Yeah,
right, all right.
and your point, and backing up your point on Cricket West Indies president, it was the second part of that statement that struck me. When, in my own words, he said to Andrew Mason, do you want me to repeat it so that to make sure that you hear? It reflects someone who demonstrating a certain level of untouchability, that he is on his throne and no one can touch him. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes,
man.
yes.
Yeah, man. You know, and from my perspective, the president of Cricket West Indies, he needs to provide evidence that persons are criticizing Darren Sammy because he's St. Lucians. If he cannot provide that evidence, he need to step down. You know, there is a term in psychology that they call gaslighting. It's about manipulative behaviors. In 1938, there was a play that called Gaslight. And later in 1944, they made a movie about it. And so it called Gaslighting. In the movie or the play, there was a gentleman who manipulated his wife into thinking that she's going insane by subtly dimming a light, dimming a gas light. And when the wife suggests that the light was being dimmed, the man denied it and said that it was something was happening to her. She was, and they call it gaslighting. That's what Dr. Shallow was doing, was guilting us. He was gaslighting us. It's like a leader that called critics. He calls us insular while subtly promoting his own hometown man. That's simply what he's doing. He's gaslighting. And if he cannot provide the evidence, he should resign. There's no place for this unity, especially for a man who is in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I think that's where he's from. And 2 weeks ago, we heard his prime minister, along with Mia Mottley, and the prime minister of Dominica and Belize, said that come October, they are going to implement full free movement in their country. And a man who's going to run for a member of parliament in his country, that same St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is dividing the Caribbean. How on earth now is the president of Cricket West Indies going to unify the Caribbean after saying that we are criticizing Darren Sam because we hate him? Because that's what we hate him, and we hate the people from small islands. How is he going to, Darren and Roger and Ian, tell me, how can the president, Cricket West Indies president, unite the Caribbean after that comment?
All right, Carlton, I know Darren is gonna run, so we're just gonna give. He's really out of here right now. I was gonna let him have the last word on that. So, Roger, I want you to take on.
I have to run a minute too, so probably Roger.
We're all good, so we can wrap it up right now. So we basically all agree that West Indies cricket is basically a downhill spiral, and the thing is, what we do to help this and stop the bleed right now. Darren had mentioned something quite early, which was the program that they have here. So I think West Indies lack vision, if I just said something. And in that, he talked about Ricardo Powell and Brenton Parchment. And those two, with Ricardo doing an academy right here in the US, he asked Brenton to join him. And you heard both of those people are Jamaican. part of the West Indies, both play West Indies. So that's our asset. We had invested in these cricketers. They wanted to give back, and unless I believe West Indies didn't see the vision. We see what is happening now in the US in terms of the growth of the cricket, and Darren spoke about that earlier. Carlton, with that said, just close out on that note, what we need to do and what do you think about what Ricardo Powell had said, is going to make US cricket great, basically. And US cricket is coming from nothing really. If we talk about US, I play cricket here, and the talent we see today, in the yesteryear we didn't have it. The class of cricket they're playing today, it's really growing rapidly. So I just let you close out on that note, what we have to do and what you think about program like that Ricardo Powell is having, and having Brenton joining him.
No, the issue going forward, what Ricardo is doing, it's what is done in developed countries. Earlier, you'd have heard me mention that it's not about having large entities sponsoring your academy or so on. It's having parents paying for their children to be taught cricket. So you have your academy, it's actually a business. The time of volunteerism has long since gone. It has long since gone. No man, even the club structure in Jamaica as we know it in the Caribbean, those days are long since gone. It will never come back to those days how it was in those days. Those clubs have to actually now turn themselves into academy and let people pay to come and train. And you have coaches that you pay and develop the talent. Those clubs, the clubs and probably even the Jamaica Cricket Association, they need to start sell the cricket. You hear the University of the West Indies advertising. You hear UTech advertising. You hear universities all over the world advertising. You hear the US Army advertising. Why are we not advertising for people to come and play cricket? That's where it reach. The baseballers, them all over the place are promote them baseball. We in cricket just sit down not doing anything. We have to promote the game. But the time when some persons used to fund the clubs and the clubs were amateurs, those days are gone. The clubs don't need to be professionalized. There's no doubt in my mind about that. 3 years ago, I said that in the next 5 to 10 years, and I have the video on my channel, in the next 5 to 10 years, USA cricket will surpass West Indies cricket. At the time, I was convinced of it. But right now, despite the obvious talent in the US, and as you heard Darren said, the US team, US have two teams. The first match that Jamaica played in the Under 19 tournament was against USA 1 and USA ONE and USA OON that game. And so it is not an issue with the talent. But if you look at those two teams from the USA, just by looking at the names, because I don't see the players, I don't see one name that I could convincingly said this is a Caribbean name on the USA teams. That there's not one. I'm not saying that they are not Caribbean players, but judging by the names that I saw, I could not confirm that any of those names were Caribbean players. So even the US, the Caribbean parents and uncles and bigger brothers are not taking out their children to learn the cricket. So it's not only in the Caribbean, it's also in the US. But the US specifically now, their talent pool at this time, even their women team appears to be better than us. But they have a serious issues with governance and financing. And they are on the very verge of being banned by the ICC. If the ban had not happened already, well, up to this morning, I don't see any information that it had happened. And that is the challenge that USA have. If they can sort out the administration, sort out the financial challenges they're having, because they are in deep shite with the USA. And so with ICC. So, but once them sort out that, then definitely be a force to be reckoned with. Thank you very much, Ian, for having me. I have to go.
Thank you all for being here tonight, guys, and for the viewers, for the fans who are out there. We just want to thank you guys for also tuning in to this program. Everyone that came on the program really had graced the program with their insight, their experience, their knowledge of the game of cricket. And all I can say from the Together We Rise Building Our Nation family is thank you to each and every one of them. And just so you know, you can always follow us on YouTube, Together We Rise Building Our Nation. There's also this Facebook page, Together We Rise Building Our Nation. It's a place where we all come together, one help the other. It's a community, it's a platform. So we just want to say again, thank you very much for watching, and thank you all for your contribution tonight. Have a great night.